So, session number 47. I thought we'd try sitting on the floor this morning just to make a change. You might find that a little bit uncomfortable if your hamstrings are tight. So you might want to pop a cushion underneath your bottom to make it a little bit more comfortable. Sitting up nice and tall. Focusing on your posture to start with. Lengthen up through that piece of string in the center of the head. Slide shoulder blades down your back. And think about pulling up so that your tummy pulls in and the pelvic floor pulls up a little bit. Nice straight back. And then shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. And we're just going to start by warming up the joints. Maybe taking the hands behind just to support you. Again, with or without a cushion. You can decide which is more comfortable. And then take a breath in, and as you breathe out, just flex the right foot and push it out. Point and pull back in. Flex the left foot, push it out, point and pull back in. So keeping the chest open, the shoulders back and down, the back up nice and straight. So you've got to switch on those core muscles to help to keep the pelvis stable. So just sliding out, sliding in, flex to push out, point to pull in. So you're warming up the hips, the knees and the ankles. And then what about doing both together? Sliding out, point and pull back in. So just sliding the heels along the floor, point and pull back in. Trying, of course, to keep your torso as stable as you can while you do that. And then when you come completed this one, just hold that there, either with legs bent, even half bent or straight, however is comfortable. But again, sit up nice and tall against that imaginary wall. And then put the hands on the shoulders. And then just draw some circles with the elbows in the air. Just start to warm up the shoulders. Big arm circles. Make it as big as you can. Forward, up and round and back and down. Feel those shoulder blades slide down your back. And then come back to the start position. Just bring the arms down and just squeeze the shoulders up. And push the shoulders down. Just to squeeze up into the ears. And push down. Keeping everything else stable, of course, while you do that. And then hold that there, and then do one arm circle. Just take the arm all the way round and back and down, and the other arm. Stretch it up maybe as you exhale, and inhale all the way round and back and down. Trying to keep your torso as stable as you can while you do that, encouraging flexibility into the shoulder. And then what about adding some neck work? Lift the arm up, turn the head, look at the hand, and then looking back as you take the arm back behind you. Reaching forward all the way up and round and back and down. But again, keeping everything else as stable as you can while you do this. Nice and smooth. If that's not comfortable, of course, you can go back to the hand on the shoulder. And then just turn the head and look behind while you circle the elbow round. You can always do that if it's too much for your shoulder. As big a circle as you can. And then maybe one more time, either side, reaching forward, up and round and back and down. And then just holding that there, holding that here. And then just maybe take the legs out just a little bit further if you've got them bent up, so just slightly bent. Sitting up nice and tall and then walking the hands around to your right side. Keep the buttocks glued right down. So make sure when you're going around to the right that your left buttock doesn't lift. Just as far as you can, and then come back and take it the other way. Maybe turn the head and look over the shoulder too. So walking the hands round, keeping the buttocks down so that the pelvis stays stable. Turn the head, look over that right shoulder. Maybe going that a little bit further if you can, and then bring it back to the start and back round to the other side. Turn the head, maybe take a breath in, and as you breathe out, take it that little bit further. And one more time, either side. Just getting a good twist on the middle. Flexibility for your spine and your neck. But of course, still switching on those core muscles to keep the pelvis pointing forward. Big twist, maybe twist again. Bring it back to center. And then from here, just putting the hands down, slide the hands out to the heels, flex the feet and pull the knees right up into your chest. point the toes, slide the feet out and lengthen up. So flex and slide the hands out, reach as far forward as you can, and then point the toes and sit up tall. Just getting flexibility into your spine again. And just sliding forward with the hands, point and pull up tall now. Nice and tall. So nice and smooth and with control, keeping the shoulders, the hips and knees, the ankles aligned. Again, warming up the hips and knees and the ankles as well as the spine. Reach, get a good stretch through your back. Pointing and sitting up nice and tall. Maybe one more time. Just reach, reach, reach as far as you can. And then point and lengthen up. And then maybe you might just want to get rid of that cushion, if you've had a cushion. And then sitting up nice and tall, holding on behind the thighs, or in between the knees, peach underneath the chin, shoulders back and down. And then a pelvic tilt. Bring the hip bones into the bottom of the rib cage, create the C curve, and then lengthen up, nice straight back. So maybe breathing in to tilt. Hold it there. And then breathing out to pull up tall. So hip bones into bottom of the rib cage, scoop out the tummy, and then lengthen through the spine. So just a tilt off the pointy bones of your bottom, and then sit right back up onto the pointy bones of your bottom. Then see if you can add on to this. See if you can do the little tilt, scooping out the tummy, keep the shoulders down, lengthen up, and then just imagine you've got a big beach ball in the small of your back. Keep the chin down and bend backwards over the ball while still looking forward, contracting the back. And then go back up to straight back and tilt and create the C curve. Lengthen up, keep the chin down, bend backwards, looking forward, and then lengthen up. So you're doing your tilt first, to stretch the spine, scoop out the tummy, and then lengthening up, keeping the shoulders down, and then bend back. So think about bending back over a garden fence, looking forward into the garden. So it's a bend, and then lengthen up, and tilt and create that curve again, that C curve. All the way up, and a bend backwards. Feel that back contract. And then lengthen up again, maybe one more time either way. Just tilt, open up the spine, and then straight back, and then a bend back. Looking forward, keep the chin down over the peach. And then lengthen up again. Then from there, just coming onto the hands and knees. If you are happy on your hands and knees. And if you are not happy on your hands and knees, please just go onto your front with the legs long, forehead down onto the backs of the hands, and I will give you an alternative. However, on the hands and knees, you can be on the hands, the palms of the hands, you could be on your knuckles, you could even go down on your elbows if it's the wrists that bother you. And then make sure you've got your hands underneath your shoulders, the knees underneath the hips, orange width between the knees. And then crossing the right ankle over the left ankle. So the knee will turn out slightly to the side. Then all you're going to do is exhale and lift the legs straight up and down, while holding the knee slightly out to the side. Now lying on your front, just keep the legs long, head down, and then just lift and lower that right leg. And then adding onto this on the hands and knees, you're just going to lift straight up and then unbend the leg right out to the side. Just literally unbend it from the knee, bring the heel back into the bottom and lower the leg. So it's exhale up, inhale extend, exhale bend, inhale down. Lying on your front, just lift the leg out to the side, straight leg, bring it back, put it down. Up, out, in, down. And on the hands and knees, remember you're just lifting straight up, out to the side, back into bottom and down. And then when you're ready, swap to the other leg. Crossing that left ankle over, do exhale up and down. Just lift and lower to start with. Same as lying on your front, just lift and lower that straight leg. And a few of those, and then you add the extension from the knee. So it's lift, literally out to the side without bending that right elbow. Bring the heel back and pop it down. So you're trying to keep the cups of tea still between the shoulder blades and on the back of your pelvis while you do this. Try not to lean over at all, keeping that torso as stable as you can. Flexibility into your hip and your knee. So there's the buttock and the front of the thigh working and the hamstring working as well. And then when you've done equal numbers on both sides, approximately, you sit back onto the heels and just stretch through the buttocks. Remember, you can stretch the arms out, you can take the arms behind maybe, and just rotate those wrists, because you've been load bearing on those wrists, promoting bone growth in the wrists. Of course, if that is not comfortable, just sit on your bottom, swing your legs around in front of you, put a big beach ball on your lap, reach over the beach ball for your toes, and rotate those wrists. Then going onto your front, please, if you're not already in that, or you weren't already in that position, but back onto your front, please. And then if you just want to extend your right arm out in front of you and take the left hand and rest it in the small of your back with the palm up. If that is not comfortable for your shoulder, just let your arm rest down by your side. That'll do fine. Forehead down, and then just exhale to lift and inhale to lower. Keep the peach underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Try to just stabilise with the arm. If it's not comfortable with the arm stretched out in front of you, you can always have the arm to the side, crucifix position, bend the elbow at a 90-degree angle, and lift and lower from there. That's better for your shoulder. So just working into your back, but stabilising with the arm on the floor, keeping cup of tea on the back of your pelvis. And then when you're ready, change the arms over. Reaching out to keep the shoulders down, and then arm either by your side, or if you can, just rest it in the small of your back, just to help to pull the shoulder back and down. And then exhale to lift, inhale to lower. Keeping the ears pointing forward, keep the tummy button pulled up, up, up into the backbone, and just work your back, lift and lower. Nothing moving below the waist, just legs long. And get some flexibility into your spine, contracting your back. Slide your shoulder blades down, make sure the shoulders stay away from the ears. And then when you're ready, you swap the arm over. And then this time, see if you can add in the opposite leg. So if the right arm is out in front, you're going to lift the left leg. So just lift and lower. So you're adding in that left buttock. Again, make sure there's no strain on the neck. So ears pointing forward, peach underneath the chin. And keep the neck long. If that's too much, of course, you can leave the foot on the floor, leave the leg on the floor, or you can leave the upper body down and just lift and lower the leg. And then maybe swapping, and swap to the other side. Keep lengthening through the legs, and then just lift and lower. Remember, you can always turn your head to the side, let your cheek rest, lift and then look at the floor, and then turn the head to the side again. But try not to have any strain on the neck. So just working across your back and into that buttock. It's not about lifting high, just hover the chest and the leg off the floor. Feel that right buttock work as well as your back. Then when you think you've done equal numbers on both sides, you know how rubbish I am at counting, then you change and swap again. Keep lengthening through. And this time, See if you could add the arm and the leg in together. So you exhale up, arm by the ear by the arm. Again, if that's too much, you could just do leg first, and then upper body, with or without the arm. So you decide how many you want to do on that side. And then when you're ready, swap to the other side. Keep lengthening through those legs. Keep the tummy button pulled up and in. And it's just exhale up, inhale down. Keep the arm by the ear by the arm. Nice and smooth. Keep that cup of tea on the back of the pelvis. Try not to bend the knee as you lift. Remember, ears pointing forward. No strain on the neck. If you feel that, you can always just leave the arm down and do upper and lower separately. And then when you've done equal numbers on both sides, just relax and come back up onto the hands and knees and do your lovely angry pussycat stretch. Arch the back, drop the head, pull the tummy up and in, and stretch. And you can always come up onto your knuckles if that works better. Tuck that pelvis under, drop the head down. And then because you work the lower back and the buttocks too, sitting back onto the heels, and just stretch arms forward, stretch arms back, or you could put head on fist. If there's still a gap, put the other fist on top, but make sure the hips stay right back onto the heels. And again, not comfortable, sit on your bottom, swing your legs around in front of you, maybe just hug those knees into the chest and drop the head over the knees. Get a good stretch in the lower back and the buttocks that you've worked. And if you're all right with it, come up onto the hands and knees, please. If you're not, just lie on your front and I will give you an alternative again. Make sure you put your hands underneath your shoulders, knees underneath your hips. Come up onto the knuckles, you can go down on your elbows again. Any which one of those positions. Tuck the pelvis under, make sure your bottom doesn't stick up. Slide your shoulder blades down. And then take your right foot directly out to the side, straight out from the hip. And without bending your left elbow, exhale to lift the leg. Inhale to keep it in the knee high. Sweep it round level with the hip. Flex the foot. Now imprint the sole of the foot onto the wall behind you. Then bring the heel to the bottom. Turn the knee directly out to the right again. And put the foot down. Let me just turn around so you can see from the other angle what you're doing. So you're going, starting off with the leg out to the side without bending the opposite elbow. Lift, bend, sweep round, imprint into the sole of the foot into the wall behind you. Heel to bottom, knee out to the side, straight out, unbend and down. Now if that's no good, you can stay on your front again and just do the lift, out, in and down, keeping your torso, whichever one you're doing, as stable as you can. So you decide which one you're going to do. So it's exhale up, inhale bend, exhale swing round, inhale straighten, exhale bend, knee goes out, inhale unbend and down, while keeping your torso as stable as you can while you do that, getting lots of flexibility into your hip and your knee and your ankle, of course, because you're flexing the foot. So you decide how many you're going to do on that side. Try not to move your torso at all or bend the opposite elbow. And then when you're ready, then you swap to the other leg. So straight out and then exhale up. Inhale, bend, exhale, swing round, inhale, straighten, exhale, bend, out to the side, inhale, out and down. And of course you're doing all of this without bending that right elbow if you're doing this with your left leg. So lots of flexibility and mobility, but of course core strength and balance. And then think about those muscles that you are working. So you've got your outside hip and thigh and hamstring, inner thigh, quadricep, and then hamstring and outer thigh a little bit, quadricep again, and then gravity takes it down. And again, you decide how many of these you are doing. And then when you've done, hopefully, equal numbers on both sides, we will stretch and keeping that movement as smooth as you can and staying as stable as you can. Then just sit right back onto the heels, let the forehead rest down. You might just want to take those arms behind you and rotate those wrists, maybe open the knees, get the hips back further. Or of course you can sit on your bottom, swing your legs round in front of you, perhaps hug the knees into the chest and drop the head over the knees. Hold that there, a good stretch. And then if you just want to come into a sitting position, please. Make sure you've got enough mat to roll down on, and then the best way you know how, roll gently down. Use those tummy muscles to control the speed at which you go down. Remember, you can hold on behind one thigh, you can put the hands behind you, you can roll over onto your side and then onto your back if you need to. And then once you're down there, take a moment to set this up. Take the feet out wider into the corners of your mat. Make sure your back is not arching off the grape. Make sure you've got the little grape in the small of your back, so you might just need to tilt the pelvis slightly and brace the tummy. Reach the fingertips towards your toes, bring your chin down over your peach, and of course the tray of marbles balanced across the hips. Breathing in, nod your head. Breathing out, pick up the peach, reach forward, crush the grape, reach between the feet, hold to breathe in, and breathing out to gently take it back down again. So it's breathing in to nod, but leave the back of the head on the floor. Breathing out, curl up and reach. Hold to breathe in, and breathing out to take it gently back down again. Now remember, you can always support the head with one hand while you reach forward with the other arm, but make sure you don't twist the upper body. You come up with the shoulders level, and then pressing your head into your hand and your hand into your head, so there's as little pressure on your neck as possible. And if that's no good, you could always have the knees up, feet flat on the floor, scoop out the tummy, pelvic tilt, and crush the grape from the other end. You can always work it that way instead. But if you can, doing the curl up, breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, come up, reach forward, push to breathe in, breathing out, arms, shoulder blades, shoulders and head go down. As little strain on the neck as possible. Remember, you can always put your tongue up into the roof of your mouth to relax your neck. Push, push, push. Just gently, gently, gently down. And you decide how many of those you are doing, working that rectus abdominis down the front, the transversus working, 3 fingers below the tummy button, to keep you stable. When you've done enough, just let the head rest and roll from side to side and ease out the tension in the neck. And then just come back to the start position. Check the grape, tray of marbles, keep the chin down over the peach. And then exhale and lift the right knee up to tabletop position, knee over the sit bone, chin parallel to the floor. And then breathing in, cross the ankle over the opposite ankle, so you're straightening the leg, but keep the hip down. And then exhale to lift the leg back to tabletop, and inhale to pop the foot back into the corner of the mat. Stay on the same side. Keep that pelvis stable. Exhale up, inhale, cross, exhale back, and inhale down. So you're working into the hip flexor and into the inner thigh, the quadricep, the outer thigh, and then of course gravity just putting it down. But mainly working those core muscles to keep you stable while you do this. Nice and smooth. Brace, brace, brace the tummy. And then approximately 5 on one side, maybe one more, that might be 6, I'm not sure. And then you change legs. So trying to keep that torso as stable as you can. Exhale up, inhale straight across, exhale back into tabletop and inhale down. While trying to keep that torso as stable as you can while you do this. Really brace those deep abdominal muscles, but of course getting flexibility again into the hip and the knee. Head, neck, spine and pelvis all stay aligned and stable. And then we think you've done equal numbers on both sides. You do more if you want to, of course, than 5 on each side. Then just relax, slide the feet in, bring the soles of the feet together, and just let the knees flop apart and stretch those inner thighs. Because I'm sure you've guessed we're going to join those 2 exercises together. So a little rest there, and then slide one foot out, the other foot out, brace the tummy, make sure your back isn't arching. So tilt the pelvis slightly to get you back on your grape. And then we're going to join the 2 together. So what you're going to do is breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, lift the leg up and reach forward. And then cross ankle, bring the knee back, put the foot back as you roll back down. Now do alternates this time, alternate legs. So nod the head, lift up and reach, and cross, and leg back, and roll back down. Of course, if that's too much, you can leave the head and shoulders on the floor and just work with the legs. You can decide. So let's breathe in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, lift leg, and then cross over, and then bring it back, and then put it down. So again, really smooth and with control. Support the head, of course, if you need to. So breathing in, nod your head, breathing out, curl up, hold to breathe in, cross, breathing out, knee to tabletop, breathing in to go down. So again, you decide how many and which level you're going to work to, making sure you do equal numbers on both sides. Keep that trade marble still great, crushed with the curl up. And then when you've done enough, just again let the head rest from side to side. You might just want to hug those knees into the chest while you let the head roll from side to side. Ease out the tension in the neck. And then putting one foot down, the other foot down. Stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head. And just give yourself a full body stretch from the tips of your fingers to the tips of your toes. With the rib cage lengthen through the legs, and of course still breathing full and wide into the rib cage. And then if you just want to gently, please roll over onto your right side. And then just take the arm back, let the head rest if that's comfortable. Check you've got a nice straight line. So if you have a look down, you should just about be able to see your toes. And lining up with the edge of the mat. If it's not comfortable with the arm underneath your head, just bring the arm forward and maybe get your cushion again and just pop your head on the cushion, whichever is more comfortable for you. And then stacking shoulders, hips, knees and ankles. Lift that waist up so there's a little bit of a gap between the waist and the floor. So you're engaging around your middle. And then just pop the top knee on the floor in front of you, resting that there. Try not to bring the shoulder up around the ear, keep the shoulder down, the neck relaxed, and then take a breath in. And as you breathe out, just lift the knee up, bring the heel towards the bottom, and then push the leg back behind you, squeeze back behind you. Then bring the heel to the bottom knee up and rotate to the floor. So maybe exhaling up, inhale, squeeze back, exhale, knee up again, and inhale, down. Try to keep everything else as stable as you can while you do this. So just working into the hip, rotation of the hip there, and then squeezing back to work the buttock, so supporting with that front hand. So gently, gently, nice and smooth. Work with your breathing. Open, squeeze, and then knee up and rotate it back down. There's the outer thigh and the buttock working and the quadricep muscle. Then the hamstring and the outside hip and thigh again, and then rotate it down, which is mainly gravity. Maybe 2 more. Lift and squeeze back and knee up and rotate back down. Try to keep that torso as stable as you can, so you're switching on those core muscles all the time. And then just relax back down. And then extend the legs straight out. Check again, you've got that nice straight line. Then bring the head back into alignment. Check the shoulder hasn't crept up around the ear. Still keeping the hand in front just to help you. Keeping the waist lifted. Tap the top foot forward in front of the ankle. Lift and tap behind the ankle. Lift and tap forward again. Lift it higher, but no, not too high, so you rotate your hip back. And then put the leg down. So it's tapping forward, tapping back, tap forward, lift with the knee and the toes pointing forward and down. So again, flexibility for your hip, and of course those core muscles switching on. Maybe you might want to challenge yourself with where you put that top hand. See how that works, keeping that cup of tea still on the outside of the hip. Maybe you could try the hand down the seam of the trouser leg. That's a lot trickier to keep that cup of tea still. So you decide the position of that top hand, keeping everything else as stable as you can while you do that. If you put the hand behind, of course, it will help to open the chest and pull the shoulder back and down. Try and keep lengthening through that bottom leg, because it will try to bend to help you keep stable. So lengthening that bottom leg, keep lengthening the top leg, that outside hip and thigh working again. A little bit of hip flexor, a little bit of buttock, a little bit of hip flexor again, outside hip and thigh and down. And then you decide how many you would like to do. You can just keep going. So it's just forward, back, forward, lift, down. I'm going to do maybe 2 more, but you carry on if you want to. And just work with your breathing. So it's exhale forward, inhale back, exhale forward, inhale lift and down. And then when you've done enough, just pop that top knee on the floor in front of you. Give the outside of the hip a little rub and a smack, and then just gently, please, roll over onto your back. And then that, if you've been on your right side, your left leg, just cross the ankle over the right ankle to stretch that outside hip and thigh, and maybe just lift your right heel. You might want to lift the right foot. Might want to hold on behind the thigh and just hug the legs in. You pick the level that works best to give you a good stretch, the outside hip and thigh down into the buttock. Bring the leg in. Maybe if you're there, you could also use your left elbow just to ease that left thigh a little bit further out. Have a little experiment and see what works better. But relax the neck, relax the shoulders, get a good stretch in that outside hip and thigh. And then just replacing the feet to the floor. Then just take a moment, please, to set up, shoulders, hips, knees and ankles aligned. Heels directly underneath the sit bones or into it between the knees. And of course, a little grape in the small of your back. Reaching fingers towards the toes, Keep the lengthened leg, the chin down. And then just pelvic tilt to crush the grapes, scoop out the tummy. And release. So maybe breathing in to tilt and breathing out to release. Pressing the back right down into the mat. And then adding a bridge onto that. Keep the feet rooted into the floor, heels in line with the sit bones. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to pick the hips up, hold up at the top to breathe in and breathing out. Link by link, bone by bone, back to the floor. So it's just breathing in to tilt, breathing out to peel off like a bicycle chain. Push up, push the knees forward away from you, get a straight line from the knee to the shoulder, and then gently, gently, gently down. So feel each bone as you pick up off the mat. Getting lots of flexibility into your spine, working into those buttocks again, and of course the hamstrings. So it's just breathing in to tilt, breathing out to peel off. Lengthen, lengthen, lengthen. Push all the way up. Make sure the knees don't come apart. Hold on to that orange. Hold on to the peach. Make sure the peach stays underneath the chin, between the chin and the chest. Pushing all the way up. Feel those buttocks clench at the top. And then see if you can add on to that. Maybe breathing in to tilt, breathing out. Pick up the arms up towards the ceiling. Balance. And then gently down. And then each time you do it, take the arms that little bit further over, just to challenge your balance. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out to pick up, take it all the way over, hold to breathe in, and breathing out, gently bring it back down again. And then see if you could take those arms all the way over, and then all the way back down. So engage the tummy, scoop out the tummy. And then maybe what you could do is you could leave the arms over the top of your head and see if you could bring the spine down, link by link, bone by bone. And as you tilt the pelvis back into neutral, bring the arms back down again. Really encouraging lots of flexibility into your spine. Breathing in to tilt, breathing out, pick up, the arms pick up the hips, and all the way over. Hold it there. And then gently leave the arms where they are and bring it back down. Tilt the pelvis back into neutral. Bring the arms down by your side. Don't forget that pelvic floor too. So as you breathe in, you tilt the pelvis. And as you pick up the hips, pick up the arms. Don't forget to pull up that pelvic floor. Reach all the way over, balance, and then link by link, bone by bone. You come back down, still holding that pelvic floor if you can. As long as you can, doesn't matter if you lose it, you just start again. Maybe one more time, just encouraging lots of flexibility into the spine. Pushing up and over, hold, and see if you can, try and get each bone back onto the floor, link by link, and bring it back to start position as you float the arms over. And then from there, if you just want to take yourself onto your left side, please. Remember, you can bring your cushion and pop it underneath your head if you need to. But check you've got that nice straight line. And let the head rest. The peach underneath the chin. Don't forget the waist lifted. And hand in front. Make sure the shoulder doesn't creep up around the ear. And then just pop the knee forward in front of you. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg. And then lift the heel to the bottom. And then push the leg straight back. And then bring the heel to the bottom, knee up, rotate. And then knee to floor. Remember, it's exhale to lift. Inhale to squeeze back. Exhale to lift again, heel to bottom. And inhale down. Just working into that hip again, getting lots of flexibility into the hip and the knee. But you've really got to switch on those core muscles to keep that cup of tea still on the outside of the hip. So it's nice and smooth. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg because it might just want to try to bend to help you to stay balanced and stable. Turning the knee out as far as you can. Push back as far as you can without the hips moving. And then return the same way. And just lift and squeeze. Working lots of those leg muscles, but it's mainly actually core. this one to keep you absolutely still. Keep that pelvis stable all the time. And then again, as usual, I've got no idea how many I've done. I'm going to do a couple more. Push back. And then last one. Turn the knee up as far as you can, encouraging that flexibility into your hip. And then when you've completed this one, just relax it back down. And then checking your position again. Stretch out both the legs, one on top of the other. Make sure that waist is still lifted. You've still got the little gap. And then you're going to tap that top foot forward, top foot back, top foot forward. Lift, keep the knee and the toes facing forward and down. So remember, it's exhale forward, inhale back, exhale forward, inhale lift and down. Keep lengthening through that bottom leg, because it will definitely try to bend to help you to stay in that straight line. So just that little tap forward, little tap back, little tap forward, lift, but keep the knee and the toes facing forward. Make sure that top shoulder doesn't start to creep up around the ears. And then of course, if you want to, you can challenge yourself with where you put that top hand. Maybe take it behind, just rest it in the small of your back. That's a lot more challenging for that balance. So it would, again, just the same, but try to keep your torso as stable as possible. Much more challenging for those core muscles, or even try the hand on the hip. Forward, back, forward, lift and down. And just concentrate on that bottom leg, because it will try to bend. Lift and lower. Feel that outside hip and thigh work, particularly as you do that end lift. But make sure that the hip doesn't roll back. Remember, you've got that cup of tea on the outside of your hip. And you put that top hand wherever you need it to be. And then when you think you've done equal numbers as you did on the other side, should rely on you to do your own counting. I'm going to do maybe one more. Just tap it forward, tap it back, tap it forward, lift and down. And then it just pop that top knee on the floor in front of you. Give the outside of the hip that little rub, get rid of any burn that you might have got going on in there. And then just gently, please, roll over onto your back. And let's just stretch that right leg. So you cross the ankle over the opposite knee. If you want to, you lift the left heel, you can lift the left foot, you can hold on behind that left thigh and hug the legs in, and you can also add that extra little push with your right elbow into your right leg. Keep the head down, the leg relaxed, and just give the outside hip and thigh a good stretch all the way down into the buttock there. Holding that there. And then just relax, hugging the knees into the chest, and maybe bring the head up into the knees, nose to knees, knees to nose. Hug in. You can always wrap one arm around the leg while you support the head with the other hand. And just make yourself into a ball. Hold that there. And then just relax back down. And then if you just like to stretch the legs out, take the arms over the top of your head and give yourself a big stretch through from the tips of the fingers to the tips of the toes. And then if you can, breathe in, nod your head, float the arms up towards the ceiling, breathing out, peel off the sitting. Or remember, you can hold on behind one thigh, pull up, or you can put the hands behind you, push up. You can roll over onto one side and then push up to sitting. And then just take the legs out nice and straight in front of you. Pop the hands down by your thighs and stretch those hamstrings, reaching forward. Shoulders down, keep the legs nice and straight. Pressing the backs of the knees into the floor. Maybe breathing in, breathing out, walk the fingers a little bit further out. So you've got some stretch through your lower back as well as the buttocks. and the backs of the legs. Keep the shoulders down. And then lengthening up, and then sitting with the legs straight or bent or crossed. And if it's not comfortable sitting, it makes your back curve, then just get your cushion again, pop it underneath your bottom. And then try and have a nice straight back while you put your right hand, palm down underneath the buttocks, sit on it, and drop that left ear into the shoulder. Keep the shoulders down, just lengthen through the neck. Keep the tummy pulled up and in, so the core muscles are still working. Get a good stretch there. And then lengthen up, slide the shoulder blades down, drop the chin down into the chest. Use the weight of the head just to stretch the back of the neck. Shoulders right down, shoulder blades down. Keep the back nice and straight, tummy pulled up and in. And then lengthen up again. Left hand, palm down, underneath buttock, sit on it and drop that right ear into the shoulder. Just lengthen through the neck and the shoulder. And then release, lengthen up, keep those shoulders down, nice straight back, chin down over the peach. Turn the head, look over that right shoulder. Keep the shoulders back and down. And then turn the head, look over the left shoulder. And then just drop the chin all the way down into the chest. Lift the head, reach that right arm forward, bring the straight arm across the chest. Try not to move your torso at all, just ease the arm across to get the stretch in the back of the shoulder. Quite a bit of load bearing on those shoulders. And the other arm straight out, and just ease that across. Keeping the shoulders down, make sure it doesn't creep up around the ear. And then relax. And then let's release those shoulders. Forward, up and round and back and down. Big, big, big shoulder roll. And then there we are, that's number 47. I wonder how many we're going to have to do before we can all meet up again. Let's hope it's not too long from now. Anyway, thank you for being there. As usual, thank you for your generous contributions. And I'll be back again for number 48. Bye for now.